The Valar, the guardians of the world who had been delegated by Eru Ilúvatar, the all-powerful transcendent creator, to shape and rule the world, also took thought for the fate of the race of men, or Edain, as they were called in the Sindarin language of the elves. The tribes of men who had become friends and noble allies of the elves, fighting alongside them in the struggles against Morgoth, were of three houses. The House of Beor, known as the first house of the Edain. The House of Haleth was the second house, known by, among other names, as the folk of Haleth, the Haladin, and the third house was the folk of Marach, later best known as the House of Hador. The history of their lives and deeds during the First Age is told in the Silmarillion. The Valar, having taken counsel, determined to offer the Edain a means of being removed from the dangers of Middle-earth. The Valar, aided by Maiar, who were primordial spirit beings of the same order as the Valar but of less degree, their servants and helpers, brought into existence the island of Númenor. To the fathers of men of the three faithful houses, rich reward also was given. Eowyn came among them and taught them, and they were given wisdom and power and life more enduring than any others of mortal race have possessed. A land was made for the Edain to dwell in, neither part of Middle-earth nor of Valinor, for it was sundered from either by a wide sea, yet it was nearer to Valinor. It was raised by Alsei, out of the depths of the great water, and it was established by Aule, and enriched by Yavanna, and the Eldar brought thither flowers and fountains out of Tol Eressëa. That land the Valar called Andor, the land of gift, and the star of Eärendil shone bright in the west, as a token that all was made ready, and as a guide over the sea, and men marveled to see that silver flame in the paths of the sun. Then the Edain set sail upon the deep waters, following the star, and the Valar laid a peace upon the sea for many days, and sent sunlight and a sailing wind, so that the waters glittered before the eyes of the Edain like rippling glass, and the foam flew like snow before the stems of the ships. But so bright was Forthinsil that even that morning men could see it glimmering in the west, and in the cloudless night it shone alone, for no other star could stand beside it. And setting their course towards it, the Edain came at last over leagues of sea, and saw afar the land that was prepared for them, Andor, the land of gift, shimmering in the golden haze. Then they went up out of the sea, and found a country fair and fruitful, and they were glad. And they called that land Elena, which is starwards, but also Anadune, which is westernesi, Numenore in the high Eldarin tongue. This was the beginning of that people. In the Grey Elven speech are called the Dunedain, the Numenorians kings among men. But they did not thus escape from the doom of death that Ilúvatar had set upon all mankind, and they were mortal still, though their years were long, and they knew no sickness, ere the shadow fell upon them. Therefore they grew wise and glorious, and in all things more like to the firstborn than any other of the kindreds of men, and they were tall, taller than the tallest of the sons of Middle-earth, and the light of their eyes was like the bright stars. But their numbers increased only slowly in the land, for their daughters and sons were born to them, fairer than their fathers, yet their children were few. A more detailed account of the coming of the men of Middle-earth to the land prepared for them, and the length of time taken for the migration, is recounted as follows. The legends of the foundation of Númenor often speak as if all the Edain that accepted the gift set sail at one time and in one fleet, but this is only due to brevity of the narrative. In more detailed histories, it is related, as might be deduced from the events and the numbers concerned, that after the first expedition led by Elros, many other ships, alone or in small fleets, came west, sparing others of the Edain, either those who were at first reluctant to dare the great sea, but could not endure to be parted from those who had gone, or some who were far scattered and could not be assembled to go with the first sailing. Since the boats that were used were of elvish model, fleet but small, and each steered by one of the Eldar deputed by Círdan, it would have taken a great navy to transport all the people and goods that were eventually brought from Middle-earth to Númenor. the legends made no guess at the numbers, and the histories say little. The fleet of Elros is said to have contained many ships, according to some 150 vessels, to others 200 or 300, and to have brought thousands of the men, women, and children of the Edain, probably between 5,000 or at the most 10,000. But the whole process of migration appears, in fact, to have occupied at least 50 years, possibly longer, and finally ended only when Círdan, no doubt instructed by the Valar, would provide no more ships or guides. But one command had been laid upon the Númenorians, the ban of the Valar. They were forbidden to sail out of sight of their own shores or to attempt to set foot on the Undying Lands. For though a long span of life had been granted to them, in the beginning thrice that of lesser men, they must remain mortal, since the Valar were not permitted to take from them the gift of men, or the doom of men, as it was afterwards called. For many years, the Númenorians were to accept and observe the ban on their sailing so far westward that the coast of Númenor could no longer be seen, and were content though they did not fully understand the purpose of this ban. Manwë, king of the Valar, and brother of the Dark Lord Melkor, Morgoth was in matters of authority, though not in power, the greatest of the Ainur, and as the Lord of the Breath of Arda was its ruler. 32. Kings and Queens of Númenor I. Elros Tar Miniatur, born 532 of the First Age and died 442 of the Second Age at age 500. Ruled from 32 to 442 of the Second Age, or 410 years. The realm of Númenor is held to have begun in the 32nd year of the Second Age, when Elros, son of Earendil, ascended the throne in the city of Armanelos, being then 90 years of age. It is written that the scepter was the chief mark of royalty in Númenor, from the reign of the first king to that the 25th king, and that having survived for 3,287 years, it was lost with Ar-Pharazôn at the downfall. Thereafter, Elros was known in the Scroll of the Kings by the name of Tar Miniatur, for it was the custom of the king to take their titles in the forms of the Quenya or High Elven tongue, that being the noblest tongue of the world, and this custom endured until the days of Ar-Adunakor, or Tar Herunumen.